So many of you listening are incredible filmmakers, but if you're stuck in the cycle of always editing with no time to actually work on your business, it can really stunt your growth. Taylor and I see it all the time. A growing backlog, late nights behind the computer, and no space to focus on booking, marketing, or scaling. That's exactly why we're so excited to partner with Wanderlust. Wanderlust offers professional video editing services for filmmakers, including highlight films, feature films, documentary edits, ceremony and speech edits, elopements, and even social media teasers. And the best part is they match your style, so your films still feel like your artistry. Whether you edit in Final Cut, Premiere Pro, or DaVinci Resolve, they deliver a seamless outcome no matter which platform you use. Outsourcing your edits means more time working on your branding, making it to that networking event, and carving out time for education to actually grow your business instead of being buried in footage. Head over to wanderlust-videos.com to learn about their amazing services. And as a listener, you can get $100 off your first project with Wanderlust of $200 or more with the code LEVELUP100. If your backlog is keeping you from working on your business, Wanderlust is your solution.
This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelly Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. Hi friends, happy February. I am here with my girl Taylor. Taylor, how are you?
I am so great. I'm actually just coming off of a trip out to Nashville, which was a lot of fun. Just me and my husband went. We left the kiddos at home and we had a great time, although it was a little icy. It's a little cold out there.
Probably a lot colder than California, I'm assuming. That's so fun. What was kind of the purpose of this trip? Just for fun? Or were you guys I know that you eventually are hoping to move there in the next few years. Were you kind of doing a little bit of research?
Yeah, so what prompted the trip is my husband had to go out there for a training for work. And so we just extended the trip through the weekend and I flew out a few days later. I met with him and then we have some friends who live out there. So some friend time, some scouting specific like cities and neighborhoods. And it was a lot of fun.
That's great. I'm so happy you did that. February, booking season. Taylor, you are booking like crazy right now.
Booking season. Sometimes that momentum just carries you without a whole lot of added effort, being put in on a constant basis. And so great little natural segue into what we're talking about today is momentum. I feel like so many of our hours are spent editing behind the computer, working in our businesses that we forget to work on our businesses. And one of the most powerful things, like as a business owner, is the momentum that we're building for our own businesses. And it makes things feel easier once that momentum is built. I will say it can be hard to get that ball rolling, right? But once it's rolling down that hill, it's hard to stop. And that's what momentum is. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I've hit like a really great kind of like season of momentum. If we made this into a drinking game, every time we say momentum, it would be rough. But I think I've hit like a really great stride with that and it's feeling a lot easier. So we have some conversational points that we want to touch on when it comes to momentum because it's one of those things that we guide our students through a lot of the time, or people who listen to this podcast, and how to build momentum for your business, what to do when momentum slows down and how to build it back up, or just to like get it going like for the very first time.
Yeah, I remember, and probably many of you sitting here listening who are in those initial years of business and you're maybe still booking based on volume. You need to have 20 to 30, maybe even more weddings per year. It's kind of nice in a way because you are booking so much and you're regularly working weekend after weekend. You sort of create that built-in momentum for yourself without even realizing it. I actually didn't realize in those first 5 years of business, because we were shooting 25, 27, 30 weddings a year, that we had this already built momentum that I just thought we were booking out our year and like we were just happy to be working, but that momentum is actually so crucial. And one of the tricky parts is how do you maintain that momentum when you niche down who your clientele is and you start raising your prices, working a little bit less, but the momentum building looks different. It's not the weekend after weekend grinding momentum in that way. It comes from getting out there and marketing yourself through networking or putting your efforts out there a little bit more strategically on social media. And then also just relationship building through and through. Those parts are so crucial because if you get stuck building momentum by just being head down in your business, it's going to the well's going to dry up, right, Taylor?
Or it'll keep you, like, in this loop. I think that's one of the biggest things
Yeah.
is when you rely on volume for momentum, like, you kind of narrow yourself down into the same clientele over and over at the same price point over and over, but when you start trying to build momentum by niching down, taking on fewer weddings, but using other tools at your disposal to build that momentum, like, that can shift the kinds of clients that you're booking, and I think that's a really important differentiation. So, like, let's dig into that a little bit more. Like, in the early years, using volume as momentum looks like literally showing up all the time, being face to face with like the same planner, the same venue, the same photographer over and over again. Showing up on Instagram constantly, like whether it's your stories or your feed, because you have just like so much work to show all the time. You know what I mean? Those are like the primary momentum builders. But let's talk about what happens when you go from booking 30 weddings a year down to 10 weddings a year. Like you're not showing up 30 weekends anymore, getting face to face with all those people. You're not able to post new, fresh content all the time. So, Kelly, like, what would that momentum shift look like? Like, how are you building momentum or keeping it at 1/3 of the amount of weddings booked?
Yeah. That's when, in those years, when we started taking a third of the weddings that we used to, because we were able to raise our prices to that, we didn't know actually. We as you probably know, you guys, I'm 15 years into the business. I am an artist who happens to have a business. So the business things don't come naturally to me. So I'm kind of over here just like constantly building a parachute no matter which plane I'm jumping out of. So I'm jumping out of the volume plane and now I'm trying to build my parachute on remaining top of mind, maintaining that momentum that I once had with many inquiries funneling into my inbox that, you know, I could take on more work and all that stuff. But I started to shift my efforts and realizing how important planner relationships were at that point. I couldn't just focus on, being the $5,000 videographer that even I mean, I would have times where I'd be shooting, five weddings in a month, and I would even be giving like a bartender would ask, "Hey, you guys seem really fun to work with. I'm getting married next year. Can I get a business card from you?" And I'd hand a business card. And the likelihood of me booking that bartender was really high because I was really like, I was just at a more affordable. So like the quantity of people that could actively afford us were a lot more. Now, this actually happened last year. We were shooting a wedding at Montage Laguna Beach. The bartender was like, "You guys are so fun." She was actually like helping like make a drink for me as like one of my shots for the shots of the welcome party. And she's like, "My fiance's about to engage, like propose to me. I'd love to get your business card." And I gave him this. I hand out a lot of business cards, you guys. I don't know what it is about, but people are always asking me for a business card. And so I hand out a business card. Never heard from her. I mean, my pricing on my website says that we begin at 15,000 for wedding weekend coverage. That's a very different investment for, back in the day when I was charging 3,500, 4,500. So it was it wasn't about just getting tons of eyes on our business. Now it's about getting the right eyes that are going to funnel the qualified leads to you. And so that's where I needed to start focusing on planner relationships. That kind of came in year like 6, 7 of my business. 6, 7, unintentional. Is that still a thing now in 2026? um, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm doing the like 6, 7 hand motions. But it came with not I wasn't available for everybody. I wasn't gonna be a choice for everybody simply based on price point. And also, I guess, too, based on, availability since we were, booking less, half the amount that we were taking on previously.
Here at the Level Up Co., Kelly and I truly do believe that an elevated client experience from the very first touch point of that first email all the way through the delivery of your wedding films or those final galleries are all so important. And that's why Kelly and I both have been using and loving VidFlow for the last several years, and we recommend to all of our students and our audience members to use VidFlow as well. Delivery experience truly matters. The way your clients view their films for the very first time should be a magical moment. It needs to be a professional and branded experience, instead of basic file sharing like Dropbox or Google Drive, or even Vimeo or YouTube links. Through VidFlow, clients can stream their videos through smart TVs, streaming devices, and setup boxes. Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, you name it. There are so many options for clients to watch and experience their films for the very first time on the big screen at home. And VidFlow is now offering photo delivery as well. They now support photo delivery with their new hybrid galleries, which is a major benefit for hybrid shooters and combined photo and video teams. You can now deliver your beautiful photo galleries alongside your video galleries in one place. Level up your delivery experience for 2026 and beyond with VidFlow. You can get started today by going to vidflow.co/thelevelupco. Yeah, so to distill it down, I would say that when you're shifting from like a volume-based momentum system to like a more intentional-based momentum system, it goes from being just like something that's naturally happening because you're literally just showing up for the work that you were hired for and just posting that new work, to being really, really intentional about making those same moves but in a different way. Like showing up on a wedding day is still forming relationships, but when you're only showing up, 8 to 12 times a year, that's not enough FaceTime with people to get those referrals. So now you have to go out of your way to intentionally curate that. And the same with like showing up on Instagram. Like before, it kind of doesn't matter what you're showing, like, right? Because the audience or the potential client pool is a lot broader. So you can kind of share pretty much anything. But as you are niching down and trying to attract a more discerning clientele with specific tastes, like it's all about curation, but then getting really creative with how to recycle those top 20% of weddings so that you're still showing up on social media consistently, but it's not a fresh wedding every week. It's just a fresh take on that one wedding that was your shining star that week, right? So it kind of is like the same but different. It just shifts a little bit.
That was so good. You guys, you should go rewind 30 seconds. Go listen back to what Taylor just said, because it is so highly valuable on, it's not a fresh wedding every week. It's a different fresh take on the top 20% of the weddings that you have every single week. Like gold. So good.
Yeah, it just shifts. Okay, let's look at what happens at a couple of different things. What does it look like when you have really great momentum in your business as a wedding creative?
I look at it as constant inquiries coming in. And when we say constant, it's important to realize and just the reality of things. So back when I had high momentum and I was charging $2,500, I was pretty easily getting 15 inquiries a week. 15 inquiries a week. Now I'm lucky if I get 15 inquiries in 3 months. But now I'm starting at 15,000. And so actually the maths, and I make more money with 15 inquiries every quarter versus 15 inquiries every week. And I was also booking out my season a lot earlier in advance because I was affordable and people were like, oh, this is a great option for me. I might as well lock this person down, rather than now I book out my season a little bit later. If 2012 Kelly went into a season 50% booked like I am right now in February, she would be freaking out because she would be already 100% booked for the season, feeling great about it. Now, if I'm 100% booked for the season in January, I'm like, oh, shoot, I did something wrong.
Yeah, your price is too low. There's
Your
too
price
much
is too
demand.
low. I tell people all the time in the DMs, I love when photographers, filmmakers, content creators DM us about just random things, or they are active on the polls that we're running or things like that. And they're like, I'm already 80% booked for 2026 and I'm 25% booked for 2027. And I'm like, I have an idea for you. Raise your prices. Because that's like honestly not the best plan. It feels like a great plan because it's like a sure thing, sure revenue. It gives you confidence. But with confidence can also come comfort. And we don't want to ever get like comfortable in that because you'll just end up on that hamster wheel booking the same level of weddings for that entire season, if not the whole next season. And then growth gets stalled and you get on that plateau.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of digging your own grave a little bit, like tiny, tiny bit. Okay,
Unknowingly. Yeah.
unknowingly, yeah, it feels great in the moment, but yeah, it's not a great long-term play. Okay, so momentum in your business as a wedding photographer, as a wedding filmmaker looks like a consistent stream of inquiries, whether that be on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or a quarterly basis, right? Like we're not seeing big like peaks and valleys. It feels very, very consistent, and you're having an easier time filling out your calendar at a rate that makes sense for the price point that you are at, right? So that's number one. Number two, if you do not have momentum in your business, maybe you never had it or maybe you lost it, like how is that translating and what are the initial like knee-jerk reactions that people tend to have?
Okay, yeah. From what I see is when people lose the momentum that they once had, they go into like fight, flight, freeze, and they don't know what to do next. And a lot of times what it means is that you just need to tackle it with a different marketing strategy and do something different than what you've previously done. When you're losing that momentum and prices are increasing, the well is dried up when it comes to a referral base, that ecosystem, which by the way, tomorrow Taylor and I are teaching a class called Referrals on Repeat. So if you're sitting here being like, everything that you're talking about is everything that I'm experiencing right now in early 2026, we would love for you to be at that class. You can go to thelevelupco.com/referrals on repeat, and we'll have the link in there where you can save your seat. There's still spots available. It's a complimentary class, and it just really helps filmmakers, photographers, content creators, wedding creatives alike be able to realize where they are in business based on what they're charging and then what their goals are. What is the next ecosystem of referrals to focus on in order to see a substantial change in their business? So Taylor has put together also a really incredible presentation. I'll be teaching alongside her Referrals on Repeat tomorrow, the 4th of February. We'd love to see you there. And if you have any questions about it, you can also DM us on Instagram too. Taylor, where were we? I got sidetracked.
That was great. Yeah. So fight, flight, or freeze, right? So, I mean, when you lose momentum in your business, it can feel really scary, right? So, an inbox that used to be filled to the seams, constant streams of inquiries coming in, like that feels great. But when the well dries up, to put Kelly's words to this, like something happens, like we go into survival mode. And yeah, for sure, you can look one of three ways. You either fight. I would say that's when people start scrambling. That's like the scramble phase. You start to see people running like public sales. They
Yeah.
start like almost like the desperation kicks in would be the fight. We've all seen that happen. Like people posting to stories like, I only have 2 weddings booked this year. If you have anyone like any referrals to send me, I would be so grateful. Or like 50% off collections if you book through Friday. Like those kind of like scarcity tactics start happening. And that seems like it could be a quick win, but it's going to deteriorate your brand over time, right? It kind of like diminishes you a little bit. Fight, flight. I feel like some people will like start trying to like pivot and like do weird things that like they
Yeah.
never did before. So like offering weird things or like stepping into like I would say, like, maybe outside of their scope of normal work. Like, okay, a few weeks ago, Kelly, you dropped, like, a really big, like, truth bomb. So maybe, like I'm not hating on you guys. This is just an example, right? So, like, maybe it's a photographer who's having a hard time booking, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna add Super 8 to my collections. Maybe that will make me more appealing, and that'll get me booking." Well, Super 8 is not a photography offering, that's a videography offering. So you're starting to, like, enter that world of video, and it's like a slippery slope, and it's really hard to build a luxury business while, like, serving multiple, creative, like, types, right? So
Yeah.
again, it's like a quick win, but like maybe not the best long-term play. Or it could be like a videographer who is like, I'll just do some content creation. I normally charge 7,000 for videography, but it's okay. I can do some weekends for 1,500. And then now we're like watering down our brand and like the kinds of weddings that we're booking. And like, sure, it's nice to have a little cash infusion, but like, again, it's like long-term potentially detrimental. Or they freeze, which was Kelly, that was your first point where like they just don't do anything. And then it gets worse and worse and worse until like momentum that had slowed down becomes zero. Like you have zero momentum. And it can be really hard to get your first couple bookings after that momentum has slowed down to a complete stop. And we have walked students through this time and again, and sometimes they don't like to hear this advice, but our advice there is, ooh, sometimes you just have to swallow your pride and book whatever you can. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's like drastically discounted from before, but that's okay because we need something to build this momentum. Like you're not just going to magically book a $10,000 wedding just because you did one time 3 years ago. Like that's not going to happen. Now we got to kind of start back from square one. It's like it's like getting knocked back a couple grades in school. Like maybe you were supposed to be in 5th grade this year, but like we got to go back down to 3rd grade to work our way back up.
Yeah. And that's okay. I think I would rather see a photographer, filmmaker, wedding creative humble themselves a little bit in rebuilding that momentum because it's absolutely worth it. And sometimes humbling yourself down, and I've done that over 15 years, there's been times where the momentum has stalled that much to where we've had to humble ourselves a little bit back. And it's so worth it because I've actually found in those seasons that while I'm rebuilding that momentum back up, I've never experienced more clarity in my business on the way that I wanted to move that ball rolling. So you get that ball rolling again, and then you're kind of like able to now, let's imagine you're a soccer player and you're at one end of the goal and you're trying to get to the other end of the goal. And let's say you're starting back down at 6,000. You'd love to get to 10,000. But right now you're just stuck in no man's land. Well, we get that ball going, we get it going, we get it going. And then the clarity of where you can steer that ball in order to get to the goal again, for whatever reason, is so much clearer once you are able to like go through that dry spell and then get the momentum back going. It's this new invigorated way of business that I've experienced. And if you're sitting here listening and you're like, actually, yes, I have experienced that too, when maybe you needed to go undergo a rebrand and steer that ball in a different direction that was more creatively fulfilling for you, or you were able to niche down highly strategically. And so there's many different ways that we can steer that ball. It might be a rebrand, it might be a refresh. It might be that you used to offer photo and video and you've decided to focus on just one medium now. So it can look many different ways. But I would rather see someone humble themselves maybe back down to that 6,000 starting in order to build up that momentum in the right direction rather than just like letting the business dry up and end up having to move into another career path.
Hey friends, really quickly, I'm going to interrupt this podcast episode because I just want to say we are so grateful to have you as listeners. Heading into our 2026 wedding season and into 2027 next year, we just know that so much is on the horizon for you. Because you're listening to this podcast, that means you are a really ambitious photographer or filmmaker, or maybe a content creator in the wedding industry who has sights set on the next level of business. The Luxury Mastermind program, which is our signature program here at the Level Up Co., is going to help you do just that. We have helped hundreds of wedding filmmakers and photographers elevate their businesses into that next level. A great example of this is Skylar Ball, who is a wedding filmmaker based in Tennessee, who was charging $3,500 per wedding when he joined our program, and now 18 months later, he's consistently booking at $12,000. We've had other students book their first 5-figure wedding during our program, and we've had many, many students be able to double and triple their prices, which sounds crazy, but it's actually true, and we are so proud of them. If you are ready to see growth like that, if you're ready to get to that next level in business, book out your calendar year with weddings at a price point that you feel so proud of, and with weddings that are artistically fulfilling for you and that are just so fun to capture, we would love to welcome you inside our next round of the Luxury Mastermind. We are currently pre-enrolling seats before we officially launch, and students who pre-enroll get a bonus one-on-one coaching call with Kelly or myself, which is something we absolutely do for our students as a little thank you for signing up early. You can go to thelevelupco.com/mastermind to learn more about the program, see what's inside, and to pre-enroll. That should be linked in the description box down below if you're watching on YouTube, or linked in the description if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Kelly and I are so excited for our next cohort of the Luxury Mastermind, and we hope to see you in there so that we can guide you to that next level of business and beyond. Yeah, we don't want the business to die. Like it's worth fighting for sure, and just taking a few steps back is going to get you a few steps forward faster than just trying to like use brute force to move forward. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the quickest way is like a quick backpedal and then forward once momentum is built. And that can be a really tough pill for people to swallow because you've worked so hard to build what you've built and you did a beautiful job. But the law of physics comes into play, and objects at rest stay at rest, and objects at motion stay in motion. And it takes a tremendous amount of energy to get an object at rest to become an object in motion, right? So like a tremendous amount of energy is going to cost you something. And sometimes it is the pride, but that's okay. I will say, whether you are trying to build momentum for the very first time, you're rebuilding momentum that you had once had but lost, or you're trying to maintain momentum, I think no matter which stage you're at, it's really important to be strategic. I think that artist Kelly was able to get by with your scrappy little self for so long, but you would have not gotten there just from that to where you are now. Like you had to implement a strategy, right? And I think that's what changed everything for you and made it feel easier. So I will say, if you're sitting here in 2026 and you do not yet have a business strategy, you're a photographer, you're a filmmaker, a content creator, and you're like, I know I'm so talented and I have so much potential. Like I can make this something so amazing. Maybe it's like you just started listening to this podcast and you realize like, oh, there's people out there charging $10, $15, $20,000 per wedding. Yes, there is. And I want some of that. Strategy is how you get there, right? It's not just based on talent. It's not just based on like running as fast as you can without any like rhyme or reason to it. And so we're hoping that our podcast is a guide to you in illuminating the path ahead when it comes to the strategy. And we did have a little mid-roll insertion into this podcast, but we are currently pre-enrolling for the Luxury Mastermind as well. We're kicking off in just a few weeks. So we're so excited to guide a brand new cohort of students through all the things they need within their business, from branding, marketing, relationship building, portfolio curation, Instagram, showing up on the wedding day, all of those things to get that ball rolling for 2026 and beyond. So we're so excited. You can go to thelevelupco.com/mastermind to learn more about the program. And we would love to have you.
Yeah. And if you're sitting here and you feel like the momentum is slowing down a bit, or you're maybe at a complete stall, like I mentioned before in this episode, it may just take a different plan in place, not like doing what you did 3 years ago, because obviously it's not working anymore. And that was really the case for our fall mastermind student, Kiri Copeland. I actually just want to share a quick win. She posted this inside of our alumni group, and she said, I was a part of the fall 2025 mastermind. I wanted to share a win. I spent most of December implementing the suggestions that Kelly and Taylor gave to my social site and overall online presence. Now, just within the last 3 weeks, so wow, she's already in 3 weeks rebuilding this momentum with our strategy. I have booked 2 couples at my highest collection offering. Additionally, I've booked these collections with little to no convincing. Wow, like what a breath of fresh air. She said, I think the marketing did the legwork for me, which is a daydream because I'm someone who hates selling. For context, my average booking for 2025 was $5,200, and these last 2 bookings have been $7,000. It's so cool seeing results so quickly. It makes me excited for what's ahead in the next year and what my business will look like. So momentum can be built very quickly with the right strategy in place. In just 3 weeks, you could be booking your highest collections too. But I think it's also just understanding that as creatives, we just can't sometimes do it all alone. Right, Taylor?
No, you can't do it alone. Like, if you were just to sit in your house, like, trying to figure out by yourself, like, maybe in 30 years you'll get there. But that's why, like, schools are a thing. Like, we don't leave children up to their own devices to, like, figure out how to read. We don't just, like, throw them a book and say, like, learn. Like, school is a thing because we know it's the most, like, efficient way to be taught how to read, which is a very valuable skill. And it's the same thing with what we're doing. Like, yes, we can like let you figure out how to scale your business all on your own, or you can go to like school with us and learn from people who have already done it and who have already been there. It's just a great way to like speed up the process, right? Like we have no doubt that eventually, like most of you could do it on your own, but what's the cost of waiting? Like financially, the frustrations, like all of that stuff, like there is a cost to not acting in the way that you know is going to get you the results fastest. So we would invite you to join us. So many incredible wins being posted all the time in our alumni group. Actually, Alyssa, who is also a mastermind student in the fall group, recently posted that she just booked a $15,000 wedding, right? Her very first one at $15,000, when her goal for when she started Mastermind was to book a $7,500. So like $7,500 was her goal, but she more than doubled that with the booking. So just incredible results. We're so proud of our students, and it's all about momentum.
All about momentum. Yeah. And so I'm trying to think what else. Oh, speaking of momentum and school and reading. So my 6-year-old who's in first grade, he, you start in kindergarten, maybe even preschool with like small little things. You start with your letters and then you move into the small, core
Sight
words
words.
or whatever. Sight words. Yes. Sight words. And now, I mean, it is crazy how fast things click. And I think that's really the case too for so many people that we've worked with is that it takes rebuilding. We have to lay another foundation. So to start back with the letters, then we have to implement other strategies like the sight words. And then, like Kiri, in 3 weeks, it's starting to click and the bookings are going. And I love what she said about the marketing did the legwork for me. Actually, when she posted that in the group, I quoted her and texted Taylor and said, "The marketing did the legwork for me." I love that.
So great. And it's amazing. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could go on and on about it, but we'll end it there. So whether you are trying to rebuild momentum that you have lost, build momentum for the very first time, maybe somewhere new or in a new market or serving a new type of clientele, or you're just trying to really make sure this momentum that you've worked so hard to build stays, like it's maintainable. We're hoping that what we talked about today really solidified what maybe you already thought, or it sparked some new ideas in how to go about that momentum building strategy. Again, I'm so sorry. The word momentum is starting to lose meaning in my brain now. Thank you so much for listening. We have some really fun, exciting things coming up in the podcast over the next few weeks. We're going to be at Hybrid Co at the end of February, and there's going to be some stuff that's going to happen there that you'll see on the podcast after that's done. So we're excited. Again, join us for our free training tomorrow if you're listening on real time. Referrals on repeat. It'll be linked in the show notes or in the description box down below if you're watching on YouTube. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.